And you know, I also receive many questions, but now it's like special time that so many women, they're ready to have a baby. They're working with they have a partner, they're working with a partner to have a baby. But it seems like, you know, nothing works. And it's like, I don't know, is it connected to food or to ecology? But it's, I don't know, instability in the whole world. So what would be your advice to women who like really trying, really ready, but things just not working out?
We see them here at Bumi Sehat. They come to us. And recently we had someone who's trying for 8 years. And they achieved pregnancy. And then they had the baby here. So one of the things for 21 years, all of these books, they're a different process. It's like each one is a different baby. This one, I was pregnant for 21 years to make this book with my friend Abuela Maria. She's from Mexico. And this is a beautiful cover, huh?
Wow,
it's my son's art.
Is so beautiful.
My son Zion. So 21 years because we wanted to make sure that every word was simple and perfect so that couples can learn how to avoid pregnancy if they don't want to have a child right now, or how to achieve pregnancy without taking drugs or hormones or chemicals, without devices. To put some device inside of your uterus is so unhealthy. But this is a healthy way, and that's why we call it Natural Family Planning Workbook, a lifestyle of nonviolence. So we give advice in here on how to chart your mucus and your signs of possible fertility so that you know when you're actually possible to be pregnant. Because in your cycle, there's probably 5, maybe 4, 5, 6 days in which you can conceive a baby. Now, if the husband's sperm count is adequate, you can get pregnant, he can get someone pregnant every day, every night. But for the mother, there is a small window. And during this window, if you know it's time, then you make love a lot. But also, how do you, for example, improve your partner's sperm count? Good nutrition. Practice makes perfect. So if you're only making love once a month, it's better. It's like when you have your breast milk, you know? The more you breastfeed, tomorrow the more milk you have, right?
So it's better more, yeah, like in this specific
Well,
days?
I'm sure the husbands like to say better, but at least, you know, a couple of times a week. And then on the times that you're fertile, you'll have more. But also vitamin E, foods with vitamin E. And also you can buy vitamin E. Prostaglandins, like I know you have in Russia, the small sardine fish.
Yes, of course, my favorite.
This is a really good pregnancy food, and I know a lot of our pregnant mothers are vegan, but if you can just eat that to give the baby the brain power, the prostaglandins and the omegas of the small fish. And remember, the small fish, they don't stay in the ocean long, and they don't get the mercury poisoning. They're very pure. And I go through a lot about this because I myself don't like to eat the meat. I don't want to hurt the animals. But I do eat small fish. And one of my friends who's a Balinese priest, he explained to me that when we take a human life, a precious human life, we make an agreement. And the agreement is to eat the plants because it gives them a higher incarnation in their next life. The fruit, the vegetables, also the meat. So when you eat the fish, the small fish in the next life will have a bigger dream, a higher incarnation. So you help each being to evolve. I mean, like my family, we don't eat beef, we don't eat cow, but my children eat chicken. They love chicken, and my mother is 88, she loves chicken. She's Filipino, she has to have her chicken. And so I agree to this because I know that the chicken will be raised up. It's a kind of way of, there's not a word in English, but the Balinese consider it a kind of the risk that you take when you become a human is that you make an agreement. This is one of the agreements you make with all the other creatures, that you lift them up by bringing them in your body. So it's a way of keeping your agreements by, especially when you're pregnant, try to eat those little sardines, if you can, possibly.
В общем, смотрю эту книгу, смотрите, здесь столько интересных чартов, можно прям, видите, фиксировать здесь все, понимать вообще, то есть, да, в двух направлениях, если хочется детей, либо не хочется, все здесь с полными инструкциями. Поэтому пока этой книги нет на русском языке, но нам нужно будет поговорить с прекрасной Ольгой Алексеем Валяевым, сказать, что такая книга очень нужна русским женщинам, и я очень надеюсь, что эта книга тоже появится еще и на русском языке, поэтому создаем намерение. Я will talk to Ольга and Алексей, because we know, потому что у нас здесь есть другие две прекрасные книги, я думаю, о них чуть позже коснемся. Вот, и мне кажется, вот это тоже должно быть обязательно на русском языке. So you shared me this beautiful story.
Oh yes,
of,
last weekend I went to a very small food festival. We all wore a mask, and it was at Mana here in Ubud. And there was a couple, a very shy Russian woman, and her husband is Italian, so he's more like Italian, you know.
Yes.
And he said, "Excuse me, are you Ibu Rav?" And I said, "Yes." And they explained to me that they've been together for more than a year and planning to have a baby, and no pregnancy yet, and really wishing to have it. She was already reading my placenta book 5 years ago, before it came out in Russian. And then when it came out in Russian, she read it again in Russian, the placenta book. So she said, "Yeah, we were wondering if you have any advice." So I gave them this book. And they were so excited, and they're already sending emails to Abuela Maria, who wrote the book with me. She's from Mexico, and she's here. She's an incredible herbalist, but she's also, we call her the Good Witch, because she's so, Abuela means grandmother. We call her Abuela at our house. She lives in my house with my family. And they're emailing her, and she's explaining to them that the times when they were making love before, they were not getting in the window of her fertility. Because when a mother is fertile, there's some mucus coming, like slippery and like this. And during those times, she thought that maybe her slippery mucus wasn't good. But I said, but when you have the slippery mucus, that's when you want to make love, right? That's when you feel like excited. That's when your husband looks really delicious to you, you know? You know, he comes in from the farm or the garden or wherever, and I mean, he has mud on his shoes, and you're thinking he smells good, you're ovulating. And so I said to her, yeah, just chart your signs of possible fertility, just read the book together, and now I'm sure they will be pregnant within 1 or 2 months.
Okay, we'll see how this story.
We'll see. The other thing is acupuncture. Can you get acupuncture in Russia?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're trying to get pregnant, acupuncture is a really good thing. It's really helpful. Yeah, a lot of people have used acupuncture here at Bumi Sehad and all over the world. My daughter is an acupuncture doctor, and she's famous in California for people getting pregnant. By her acupuncture. They're getting pregnant by their partner, but she says, I didn't get you pregnant, I only did the acupuncture to increase circulation, both in the husband and the wife.
So it's for both partners, yes?
Yes, it's possible it's both partners. We had a doctor from Denmark, and his wife is Indonesian. 8 years they tried. Twice IVF failed. 8 years. And they came to Bumi Sehad and got acupuncture. They got pregnant in 1 month.
That's a really good reason to try acupuncture.
Our Dr. Bobby here in Bali, she's American acupuncturist. She took the pulses of the wife. She said, "You're fine, you're just stressed out because your dream has not come true. I will give you acupuncture for that." Then she took the pulse of the husband. She said, "Oh my gosh, do you know you have a congenital heart defect? I'm sure you have almost no sperm. You must have 0 sperm count because your pulse is telling me you have no circulation." He didn't say anything. He called me a few hours later. He's a doctor. He said, "You know why I'm a doctor? Because I have a congenital heart defect. I grew up in the hospital, always in the hospital, so I just kept going to medical school." And he said, "I thought it was impossible to fix this." Guess what? Not only did he get his wife pregnant in 1 month, but his heart was fixed.
Wow.
It was like a miracle. And then they had their and then of course the whole family wanted them to go to Denmark to have the baby in a proper hospital, but they came to Bumi Sehad. They only trust Bumi Sehad. And they had their second daughter also. in Bumi Sehat.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
So I
and
think
one
this-
time he had a heart issue. Sometimes he would carry a bottle of this heart medicine no matter where he was. And then in 4 years, only one time did he need it. He was needing it every day. And so he had one more acupuncture and no more problems.
Because I know in your center you use acupuncture a lot,
Yes.
and I use acupuncture and I really enjoy it. You know, we have a special procedure, Happy Baby. I feel very happy, you know.
Yes,
After all of these procedures I done with Dr. Bobby and with Dr. Ayu, so I'm a big fan.
Yes.
You know, many women who now pregnant like me and who like their delivery day is coming, and we feel like a little bit nervous, and they ask because we learn a lot about like from you about how to give birth naturally, how to trust, but girls are asking like, how do you really trust yourself and your body when you're already in the process, you know, when you already have like, maybe like some people told, maybe doctors scared you about something, but something in your body not right, and like you just shared me the story of your daughter when, you know, around neck, baby neck, this cord was around. So how do you really trust your body and just, you know, in this process when
Yes.
that's it already?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question. I think that for example, my daughter, never in, I would say maybe at least 17, 18,000 babies, never have I seen the cord 5 times around the neck. Never. And it was safe. It was okay.
So
Because-
even like if it's like 5 times, it's you see you had still beautiful
Well,
delivery.
you know, it can be one time and not be safe. But one of the things is the mother's body knows. So my daughter kept saying in labor, why is it so long? Because her first baby, even though she had a belly birth with the emergency, she went from 1 to 7 in a couple of hours.
You mean 1 to 7 centimeters?
Centimeters, yes. So she assumed that with the second baby she would open quickly. But it was so slow. And the baby stayed high, and it was so slow. Because her body knew that the cord is wrapped around the baby's neck. So if you pull something like this very fast, you break it. But if you pull very slowly, you stretch it, right? So it was the best thing for the baby that her body slowed down. Also, she did all the right things, and the mothers can do it even in the last trimester of the pregnancy, to make a long cord. How do you make a long cord? You know when you eat these oranges?
Oranges?
Oranges.
Yes.
You open the orange peel and inside is white, right?
Yes.
Eat the white part too.
Ah.
This makes a long cord, I'm serious. And you know when the orange has the strings, like the white strings? People take it off and throw
Yes.
it. This is not to be thrown away. This is important food to make your cord long.
Wow, that's a life
Yeah.
hack. Wow, never heard
It's a
anything
good
like
life hack, huh? And my daughter was always eating oranges. One, the vitamin C is really good. Yeah? I mean, there's that story that, you know, when the orange was invented, you know, Shiva was not happy because he said, you know, there has to be a cycle of life and death, life and lifetime, and then go back and come again. And he said, if you give the humans this oranges and these lemons and this citrus, they're going to live forever. So, but, you know, Brahma wants to give the oranges, but then, you know, you have to find a compromise. So the compromise is that we will give the humans the oranges and the lemons and all the citrus, the grapefruits, but inside we hide a little seed. And the seed is very slippery. And the effect, the life-sustaining effect of the oranges will be reduced if they swallow the seed. So don't eat the seeds. The seeds is for the earth. Give it to the earth for growing
so
the
eat
trees.
everything else, but seeds leave
You don't
to
have
the
to eat
earth.
the outside of the peel because it's bitter, but the inside, the white part, eat this. So and the strings. It's
Okay.
really important.
Okay.
It's so important. So also the mother's body knows how to regulate the labor and the delivery. Of course, if you feel intuitively that there's something wrong, you speak it, you say it, you take it out into the light. When my daughter's placenta was, her first baby's placenta was coming off inside, right away she felt something. It was not a pain, but she felt something. And she looked at me, and I felt something. And she said, "Mama, something is wrong." And I believed her. We went immediately to the hospital. On the way, she started bleeding. There was no evidence except her feeling.
Wow.
And it was her feeling that saved the baby. So you as a mother know, and your baby will tell you. Also, have you noticed that when you begin labor, the contractions begin? You know, let's call them expansions. Because instead of contraction, expansion. Yeah. Because yes, the uterus is squeezing, but your body is expanding.
Yeah.
So the expansions begin. And you don't think, "Oh my God, this is so terrible." It's kind of like, wow, I know this feeling.
Yeah.
I know this feeling. It's not something from another planet. This is really my earthing experience. It's like when we're young and we have our first menstruation, you start to feel the cramping. And that's an expanding to let the blood out so that we can bring new blood and make a new home for the baby. You know, and we do this every cycle. It's a gift, the cycle of being a woman. And our fertile cycle is very special, but it's when we begin our labor to bring our baby to earth, it's not a foreign feeling. It's a very home feeling. Was it that way for you, or is it only me?
Yeah, it was like something like really special experience to go through it, you know. You're just observing, like, wow, and just start slowly, you know, yeah.
It starts slowly, and it feels like, I was a teenager the first time. And I said to my...
You mean when you gave birth?
When I gave birth, yes.
How old was you?
I was 19. I was just 19. And everyone said I was crazy. None of my friends had babies. And, you know, I mean, I married my sweetheart from high school. And we're still best friends. And my daughter's 44 now. And I told her, I said, when she had her baby, she was just 20. And she said, "How will I know that it's really labor?" I said, "Because it will feel like home." But it's challenging, you know? I mean, sometimes it hurts like hell, right?
Yes.
But it's still home.
Yeah.
And it's what you were born to do. You know, as a woman, you were born to do this. And it's such a gift. And I can't imagine, like, what an incredible planet that the mother gets to give the earth this baby and bring the baby to the family. What an incredible gift, you know? And for fathers, I feel like when they understand that their sacred role is to make a baby, they're going to be better lovers. You know, this is their sacred time. You know, it's just so important. It's like in the whole mosaic of life, the very red hot tile in the middle is sex. Because that's how you get born. You know? Somebody has to make love so that your soul can find a stargate. Right now you're a stargate and you're soon to open to let your baby come to earth. What an incredible thing. Like, there's nothing more, for me, I mean, I have chills. There's nothing more incredible than to sit in the presence of a woman who's gonna give birth. It's like a,
and talking,
it's
you
a
know,
miracle
about
every minute.
yeah, you know, talking about partner, because in Russia, many women afraid of bringing partner to their birth, because, like, you know, it's even doctors tell, like, come on, why do you need your partner there? Like, he will see everything, and he will not want you as a woman anymore. So, you know this belief? You don't know?
I do notice that some mothers are afraid of it.
And many women, like, we just tell, no, my husband, no, you stay away, you don't come. Like, even also for me, I think it's like such an important support. You done this baby together.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to meet your baby together.
Yeah.
So based on your experience, because you said like your partner even becomes like a better lover, you know, when he goes through this experience.
Yeah.
So maybe share your experience about this. Is it like, you know?
Yeah, for me, I needed my partner. I really did. And for the bonding, you know, we had a couple here a few months ago, and she was having the baby, but they were in the process of divorce. They were breaking. And she told me, she was crying, she said, you know, It's just not working. He's not focused on our family. I'm not happy. We have so many issues. And I said, will he be there? She said, he will be outside. He will drive me here. Maybe he goes away to drink coffee, whatever. And I was like, okay, it's very difficult for me. Even to talk about it, my throat's closing. And so he was outside. He went to get a coffee and brought it back. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm getting a coffee. I said, you bring it back and sit outside here. And he said, okay. And then she was having her labor quite quickly, but also very emotional, you know. Her sister was coming from Russia, but this was in March. Her sister couldn't come. Her mother couldn't come. Her people could not come, and she was really new in Bali, so she didn't really make her circle of support yet. So the midwives really, these midwives here, they're so beautiful. They really like were rubbing her back. One was rubbing her feet, singing Gayatri mantra, Om Bhur Swaha, to her, to calm her and to remind her that this baby is coming as a soul, not just a body, but as a soul. A precious, precious, precious human incarnation, a miracle. And her husband was really not going to come in. And then as the baby starts to crown, she was just crying, and I could see that she has a broken heart. And I said to her, I said, I will bring him in. And she said, can you? And I went outside and I just took his arm. I didn't even ask him, I took his arm and I said, you need to be a man. Not a mouse, a man. And he came in and I took him to the sink and I washed his hands like this with my hands. And I dried them with a little towel. And I said, you sit here with me. And when the baby comes, you receive the baby with your own hands.
Oh my God.
It was incredible. I mean, they will never get divorced.
Really?
Really. He was crying. He was saying, I commit to you. I'm so sorry. I just didn't understand what a woman is. I didn't understand how beautiful you are. I didn't see it before. I didn't understand. I was like, and all the midwives were crying and crying and crying. One midwife that just arrived on her shift, she's a senior midwife, and she was there and she didn't know the story. She didn't understand. And then outside she's crying. She said, what happened in there? It's like a miracle. I said, well, birth is always a miracle. She said, no, but something. And I said, he was leaving her. He already made the papers to divorce her. And she said, well, I think he's not leaving her now. It was so incredible. Wow. It was so healing. So remember, birth is the fulcrum of karma and the fulcrum of healing. And so I really believe that when you do something with your heart open, and you have to open your heart to give birth, no matter how your birth happens, if it happens naturally, if it happens by a operation, it's still, you have to open your heart to bring the baby to earth. And when you do that, you heal your family for 7 generations going back to your ancestors and 7 generations forward. Wow. So don't even imagine that you can get away from the miracle. It's a 7 generation both ways, so it's a 14 generation miracle. It's with the mother and the baby in the center. And if the partner can be part of it, it's so powerful.
Wow, that's beautiful. And you know, we just touched with you like this labor moment, you know, when already baby crowning. So there are 2 practices that women discuss, push or not to push. Because usually if you go to hospital, doctor tells you like, push, push, we scream at you like all together. It was with my first baby. So based on your practice, so push or not to push?
It depends on the mother and the baby. If the labor's going and the baby's coming, because we don't want the baby too long in, coming through the pelvis. So usually first-time moms, they do push, but they have what's called a fetal ejection reflex. So they want to push. And sometimes when they're almost fully dilated and they're not quite ready yet, you can see in their face. And also I muscle test, is she fully dilated, yes or no? And when she's fully dilated, because we try not to do so many vaginal exams. We might do one if needed, if the mother asks sometimes. Sometimes we say, we'll wait a little while because it's going to take a little longer. We just wait. But when the mother wants to push because her body is saying now, we support that. With the second, third baby like that, fourth baby, sometimes there's no need. The body will push, but then the mother may feel that need anyway, you know? It's like every mother and baby are individuals, and they will bring in the kind of birth that they want. But we're not screaming push, push, push at Bumi Sehat. No, we're singing Om Bhurpua Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam. And this, I don't know, it's like it draws the babies out, and the mother's just.
I think it's for all of us, you know, who listening to this Gayatri mantra, also like a blessing, you know, so your voice
You can find it on YouTube too. It's easy.
I think in your, you know, when you sing, it's like it has like special.
Normally when I
energy
sing
in
it rains because I have a bad voice, but I don't care. All the boys in my family and my husband have a beautiful voice. And all the girls, we have sour voice, but we love to sing, so we sing.
I think this is the most important.